Hi, I'm Vicky. Welcome back to Frocks. In this series, I take pre-loved and vintage clothes and give them a makeover. Today, I'm here with Janice from Gorilla Hair, and for this week's Frock, we're going to make over this vintage ball dress that Janice has. Where did you get the dress from, Janice?
I got it from a good friend, Ruby, that has a shop called Frith Street.
Yeah.
I saw it in the window of her shop. It was at the Lonsdale Street Traders when it was open, and I just couldn't leave it there.
I love it. I love the colour.
Cost me $100.
The bargain.
Amazing.
Absolute bargain. Yeah. So you've worn this a few times now.
Yeah, I have.
And you're ready to change it up.
Yes, it's my favourite dress in the world, so I will never get rid of it. But yeah, there's
only
only so many times you can wear a dress.
Yeah, totally. So I think we will do some changes to it, but not too dramatic changes. I think the first thing I'd like to do is to take off this ruffle.
Yes.
And give you a sort of high-low.
That would be amazing.
Dress.
And the last event I went to,
shorter.
I did actually tuck it up to do that.
Awesome.
So perfect.
Awesome. There's enough fullness here that we can put petticoats underneath it, so you can change the colour of the petticoats underneath it. That will give me all this fabric to use to make new things. And I think what I'd really like to do is give you things that can be put on and off the dress. So if you've got different sleeves, different bows, different embellishments on brooch backs, you can put them on and off and change the dress each time you wear it, so you don't feel like you're wearing the same dress every time.
New dress every time. I'm so excited.
I think I'd also like to add some sparkle. I think maybe some gold sequins under here.
Never have too
I know
much
you
sparkle.
love bling.
I do.
So I reckon we'll bling it up as well.
Awesome.
And give you a whole new look.
I'm so excited.
With the same dress.
Excellent. I can't wait.
Okay, I'm going to cut it. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Ready? Let's see how it looks without this ruffle on. I'm going to cut around here. Initially, I looked at it and I was going to undo this, but it's actually two separate pieces of fabric, so that's not an option. I thought maybe it had been pleated after it had been made, but it hadn't, so I'm going to cut this whole piece off now and we'll see how it looks. There's so much fabric here, I think it's going to be amazing. It's a long way around. How did it feel to see me cutting your dress?
Exciting.
Good. You're not having a panic.
Nope, not
Good.
at all. It's you. If it was anybody else.
Look!
Yay! Whoa!
There's miles of it. Now I've got all this fabric I can use to make new bits to go on it. I reckon we can get a cape out of this. What do you reckon?
Yes!
A little cape to
Oh
go with it.
That would be amazing.
How cute would that be? Oh my god, I've got so many ideas. I better get sewing. And Janice will come back soon and try it all on and see the finished result.
Woohoo!
I'm really excited about this dress transformation. I love the idea that I can give Janice a whole new dress from her old dress, and by giving her all the different accessories that she can pin on and off, it's going to give her so many options for wearing this dress in different ways in the future. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wash the piece of organza that we just cut off from the hem because it's quite dirty. Then I'm going to hem this layer, cut the lining and hem that so it's all the same length. And then I'm going to add a layer of these gold sequins underneath the organza to give this dress some sparkle. Because Janice loves princess sparkle. This is going to be so her. And then I'm going to use the same gold sequin fabric to make some bows and accessories to pin on and off as well. I'm also going to do some dark red with it. I'm going to see if I can find some really nice dark red roses, because I think this beautiful dark coral colour and dark red together will look really beautiful. I want to do some sleeves that can pin on and off. I want to do a cape that she can wear with it if she wants to. I'd like to try and use all of the fabric that's in a good condition from the hem to make some accessories to go with it. If possible, I don't want to waste any. I've cut the lining of the dress to match the shape that we cut the organza to when we took the ruffle off. I've given the dress a wash and I've pressed the lining and the organza layer of the skirt, and now it's time to roll hem both edges. I'm going to start by turning the organza up and stitching near the edge, then I'll trim all the way around and turn it up again to get a nice small rolled hem edge. Then I'm going to do exactly the same on the lining to get a nice small rolled hem finish on that as well. By turning up more than you need to and trimming it down. That's the easiest way to get a neat rolled hem finish. So I'm just going to go all the way around the organza and then all the way around the lining, then I'll show you the next step. I've trimmed right down to where my stitching is on the lining and on the organza, so now it's time to turn it up and do a second row of stitching and finish these little rolled hems. They're too fiddly to pin in place, but you can just turn it up with your fingers and hold it as you go. And that's our finished neat rolled hem. So I'm going to go all the way around the organza, all the way around the lining, press both, and then it'll be time to add the gold sequin layer underneath the organza. I've now cut a gold sequin skirt layer to go underneath the organza. I've matched the size and shape to the measurements of the lining of the dress. I'm just going to sew the side seams together, then I'm going to hand sew it in at the top of the lining. The gold skirt layer is now pinned in. Because the dress is quite old and delicate, I didn't want to take apart the bodice and the skirt, so I'm just going to hand stitch the gold sequins as close to the top of the skirt as I can, going through the lining and the net layer, and then the organza layer is going to sit down over the top. Because the sequins are on a tulle bracking, they're not going to fray. If you're using a fabric that does fray, just turn the top over before you do this part. The last job on the actual dress alteration is to hem the sequin skirt layer. I'm just doing a single turn and stitching it into place, then I'll press it, and then we can get started on all the brooches and sleeves and capes to pin off to make this dress really versatile for Janice. The next thing I'm going to do is make the cape from the ruffle that we cut off the bottom of the dress. I'm going to keep the gathered part, which is the bit where we cut it off, and I'm going to use that as the neck of the cape and use the gathering to create the fullness. So on the mannequin I've measured how far from this centre, it was the centre front seam, but it's going to be the centre back seam of our cape. So I've measured one side and put a pin in to the length that we want it to be around the neck. I'm just going to fold that in half with the seam in the middle and cut the shape that I want for the cape, and then edge it. And I'm going to stitch, to finish the edges, I'm going to stitch the gathered part towards the outside. Then I've got this gold lace trim I'm going to use to hide that, and a gold ribbon that I'm going to use to tie the cape up with. That's our neck, centre fronts, and the gathering will make the fullness. So I'm going to just go and check it on the mannequin, make sure I'm happy with the length of the back. I want it to sit probably just above the waist, so I might have to cut that a little bit. Then I'm going to edge it, stitch these towards the outside, and then stitch on the gold trim and the gold ribbon. Next I'm going to make a pair of really puffy detachable princess sleeves that Janice can take on and off this dress. I'm using some more of the fabric from the ruffle that we cut off from the bottom of the dress. I've cut two strips that are about 44 inches long and about 6 inches wide, and I've pinned some pleats in each end of them. I'm going to stitch a piece of clear elastic to the end as I sew around it. I'm going to sew across the end, down the open side, leaving a gap to turn it through, and then across the pleats at the other end. Then I'll turn it in the right way and pull the elastic through and top stitch it at the other end to give us the elasticated puffiness we want. I'm completely winging this part, so let's sew it and see if it turns out like I'm hoping it will. I've sewn them both, now I'm going to turn it through and see if it's worked. It looks like it's going to work, so now I've pulled one end just back through the hole and pulled the elastic through the hole. I'm going to stitch that down here and then turn it back in the right way, and we should have a nice elasticated puffy sleeve. I've stitched the elastic to the other end, I've top stitched both ends, and this is what our finished stretchy puffy princess sleeve looks like. I'm just going to attach some hooks and eyes to each end and to the inside of the dress to make this completely removable. I'm now using some more of the offcuts from the hem to make a bow brooch. So I've made my little tails here by stitching 2 pieces together, turning them in the right way, then pressing them. And then I've folded them in half with a little pleat in the middle. I've pressed my centre for the bow and I've just got that pinned together. And here's my bow itself. So to make bows, I fold the two, I cut a huge rectangle, fold the top and bottom into the middle, and then I fold the ends into the middle. That way you get a bow without any seams and bulky seams in. So what I've done, I've stitched it all in place, and now I fold it in half, and then fold each half back on itself. Make sure it's lined up nicely. This technique can be used to make brooches or shoe clips or bow ties, anything that you want to bow on of any size. So after I do that, I wrap the thread around it. After I fastened off the middle of the bow, I pinned it on my centre and wrapped it around and brought it back to the front. I've then pinned my little swag tails on. And now I'm just going to finish it off by bringing that centre over the top. And then I'll turn that under and pin it and stitch my bow brooch on, and that's how it looks from the front, and that'll be our finished brooch. I've also made this pair of shoe clip bows from some of the scraps of organza from the skirt, and I've layered it over the gold sequins. These little shoe clips are really versatile. You can clip them onto the front of your shoes or the side of your shoes or the backs of your shoes. You can also clip them on belts and handbags and necklaces, so they're a really versatile accessory to have, and they're a great way to use up small scraps of fabric. If you're looking for shoe clip backs online, I get mine on Etsy. I only use the brand Bluette. All the other cheaper brands that I've found come apart at this hinge. Or the Bluette ones, they're more expensive, but they're really durable, so I wouldn't recommend anything else. I've also created these 2 brooches and 2 headpieces for Janice to accessorise her dress with. The headpiece on the left with the peach flowers and the 2 brooches were created much in the same way as my silver lace and hairpiece tutorial. I'll put a link to that in the description. I've made a separate tutorial to show you how I made the gold crown. I'll put a link to that in the description once it's up. So as well as the cape and the sleeves, we've also got all these accessories that Janice can use to put on and off the dress to change it up. There's some great combinations that Janice can mix and match to really change this dress up each time she wears it. So we're back with Janice, and here's the finished dress transformation.
I love it. I actually squealed when I walked in and saw it, so that must only be a good thing.
So this is the dress just plain, so we've taken that bottom ruffle off. I've added all this gold sequin fabric underneath, so it's got sparkle as it moves. Put a little petticoat underneath here. This is separate, so Janice can change the colour of the petticoats. And this is how the dress looks without any of the accessories put with it. It still looks like Janice's dress. We've kept the top exactly as it was, so we haven't done a dramatic change. We haven't made it look like a completely different dress. It's still kept that character of the original dress. So Janice can wear it like this, or we can add all those accessories and headpieces to it to change it up. So let's do that and see how it looks. Or should we put it on first? I'm going to put the sleeves on first.
Excellent.
Because I'm really happy. So
these are my favourites.
These are full princess, I think. So these
Absolutely.
are the gathered elasticated bits from the bit we cut off the skirt, and these literally just hook onto the loops of the hooks and eyes inside. So this is the dress with the sleeves. Because these are elasticated, they can be worn down or up on the shoulder, and the gathers can be moved up and down the elastic so you can make them as big as you want. I think they look cute. And down off your shoulders like that. And do you know what? I'm going to add these are the shoe clip bows, but I think they're going to work beautifully just there on top of the sleeves as well. I'm literally just clipping the shoe clip backs over the edge of the dress. Oh, that looks super cute. And let's put on the big gold brooch as well. Headpiece. For this look, we've changed the headpiece for the crown, added the little brooch with the red flowers on as well, changed the sleeves for the cape, added a red petticoat for a bit more colour, and moved the little shoe clip bows down onto the gold shoes. Look, we've kept the red crown, we've kept the red brooch and the red petticoat, and this time we've started with the brooch made from the excess fabric from the bottom of the dress, and with this incredible dark brown fur coat. Where's this from?
It's a family heirloom. So my great grandmother used to wear it out dancing in the 1920s. Passed it on to my grandmother, passed it on to me.
I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
I love clothes with a story. A lot of the time when I buy clothes in op shops, I wish I could know about their history and who's worn them and what they've seen. So to have pieces handed down from generation to generation, you know who's worn them and where they've been. And it's just, I think it's absolutely beautiful. And while I generally don't advocate wearing real fur, I think in the case of vintage pieces like this, especially pieces that are a family heirloom that do have family history attached to them, I think it's better to wear them than just to leave them sitting in the cupboard somewhere. It also takes this dress from sort of looking quite summery and light. It gives you a winter look, so you can get out of your beautiful carriage, ready for the ball in your fur, and take it off once you get inside. Do you feel like a princess?
I am a princess.
Fabulous. Thank you for letting me rock up your dress.
Oh, I love it.
Letting me change
I'm
it.
so
I can't
excited.
wait to see all the different combinations that you're going to choose
I-
and how you're going to wear it. And then you can use these on anything as well. All these brooches and headpieces don't have to go with this dress. So
Amazing.
You've got so many possibilities now for changing it up and wearing it again.
That's it.
So
I'm going to be a kid in a candy store. The hardest thing will be choosing.
you'll be wearing it all at
The
once.
crown or the flowers?
We've got some more fabric left as well, so if you've got any other ideas and you want me to make something else from the excess fabric, just let me know and we'll make
Amazing.
it here as well.
Amazing.
Thank you for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this transformation. I hope you feel inspired to do something creative and to change up something of your own. Even making the smallest change to something can really change it and give you a whole new way to wear it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll be back soon with more Rocks Up Frocks.